Boy, have I missed this. We've got a little blizzard forecast for the Christmas weekend. And I still got a few things I want to do in the barn, so I'm going to get my finger out of the way here. Okay. They're only forecasting a few inches, but heavy winds. They're talking 50, possibly 60-mile-an-hour gusts. And with this, as dry as this stuff is, it's going to be temperature down around, supposed to be down around 0 tonight. So we're going to have a lot of drifting with this dry snow. So anyway, I'm going to do a little short video about a little old Briggs & Stratton engine I've been doing out here in the barn. This engine that I'm working on was been working on it for quite a while. It was sitting outside for many years, and the crankcase was full of water, which I drained out. The valve lifters were stuck. The valves were stuck. Intake valve was burned very badly. However, the seat was okay, and that all cleaned up. I put a new valve in it and got the lifters freed up, and the engine turned over. I had the head off and it looked fine. The cylinder looked fine. That didn't get rusty or anything, but the fuel tank was just rusted very badly up in the little small well, and that's where that's where the carburetor gets its fuel from. It pumps it up into the small well, and then it's sucked up into the main jet on these pulse jet carburetors. So I had to take this tank in order to get into the small well, which is down below here, and replace that. I had to split the tank, so I cut the tank in half. It's been welded back together. I don't think you can tell very much difference from an original tank now. The small well has been replaced. Did not have a screen, so I had to make a screen up. This is about 2.5 thousandths wire that makes up this screen wire. So I got a piece of this and I welded up a screen, so that goes over that, and that filters out any crap that might get into the main jet. This is the old carb. Now this was soaked in a ultrasonic cleaner overnight in solvent, and it just wouldn't clean up. I mean, it cleans up a little bit on the outside. You should have seen this before. The problem is there's ports that are drilled in these carburetors, and they're sealed up with freeze plugs, and also there's plugs that are driven in, like in here, in the side, down inside here and stuff. They're driven in. You can't get them out to clean the carburetor. So these small jets that are in there, they get clogged up. The emulsion tube is down inside here, and that's pretty well put together. You can't get it out, and there's very, very small openings in that. Also, at the bottom of the idle screw here, there should be 3 holes down the bottom of that. They're pretty much clogged up. I mean, you can't get in there to clean them really. The throttle butterfly is so rusted up that it almost clogged up the whole thing, because this was full of leaves and grass and all kinds of crap. So after farting around with this for for a couple of weeks trying to get this thing to work. I just finally gave up on it. Spent $18, put a new Chinese carburetor on here. This had to be reworked. The fuel pickup here was an inch too long on this, so it wouldn't go down into the tank. The screw holes on the side for the brackets here and over here were the wrong size. I had to drill them out, re-tap them, and other than that, it seemed to have gone together okay. So it I had it running a little while ago. Let's see if it'll start now. Rusted out on it, so I replaced it with a different Briggs muffler. So we got a relatively new 3 horsepower. I'll be changing the oil in it a couple of times to make sure that all that water and everything was flushed out of there. And these were very common, along with the 3.5 horsepower Briggs, on the early mini bikes, and that's the only reason I messed around with this so long and took the time to go ahead and restore it. The smaller mini bikes from the 70s and 80s used a little 3 horse, and the little bigger ones use the 3.5 horse, and occasionally you'll see a 5 horse. Those are primarily used on the go-karts. They're pretty popular with the go-karts back in the day. So bought a new filter for it, so we'll get all that put together, and we'll have an 80s era Briggs & Stratton that's ready to go on a little mini bike if we can find a mini bike. Might have to build one. Okay, that's about all I wanted to say about these things. Got another little Briggs here that I talked about a few minutes ago. This is a 3.5 horse. It's one that was sitting next to the little 3 horse that was out alongside the garage for years. This one wasn't in too bad a shape though. Basically just rebuilt the carburetor on it, reset the cleaned the spark plug, then readjusted that and cleaned up the flywheel a little bit, and adjusted the clearance on the coil, and pretty much just cleaned it up. The starters on these things get loaded up too, so they don't work very well, so I take those apart and clean those out, clean the balls and everything, and put it all back together, and they work just fine. Anyway, this was like I was talking about. You would have seen these 3.5 horse on a little a little bigger mini bike. And let's see if this one will start. Like, this one's been on the shelf for quite a while. I did this about a month and a half ago, I guess, and see if I can remember how to turn it on here. Let me try that there. Pretty good. So that one's a good little one, and I'd like to find a couple old mini bikes to put these things on. Both of them seem to be pretty decent little engines again. So sometimes it's a lot of work, and people say, well, why do you want to put that much work into one of these little old obsolete engines? And if you're restoring a mini bike, this is what you want to put on it. You don't want to put a Predator on there. It's just not right. It just doesn't fit. So that's what restoration is. Okay, I'm going to go shovel some snow.